And we don't have to worry. Sometimes devotees are fearful. How people going to take it? How is the world going to take it? We don't have to worry. The mandate of Srila Rupa Goswami, Rashi Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is wherever there is Sankirtan, it creates auspiciousness, which means it will change people's hearts, even if they don't want it to be changed. That's what it means. You see the point? It is going to change people's hearts, even if they don't want it to be changed. Materialistic civilization, people are very, very expert in actually, with the slightest of provocation, running back into their shells, into their caves of sense gratification, which they keep building throughout their lives. But the moment we release Krishna consciousness, it has to create auspiciousness. It is a characteristic of pure devotional service. And that pure devotional service, like a bomb, if it is released, what is the bomb going to do? It's going to explode. Wherever it is going to explode, it will create a difference in the people's lives there. Is it? I mean, it's a negative, devastating influence. Is it not? But wherever it drops, it devastates. Similarly, Krishna consciousness is like a bomb. Wherever it drops, it creates auspiciousness. So it's a positive bomb. Is it not? Wherever it is dropped, it creates auspiciousness all around. So that means that sometimes people are fearful. I'll do preaching, I'll do so much preaching, I'll put so much efforts. Will there be any success? What is being talked about here? Bhakti means auspiciousness. Auspiciousness means success. Okay, if we are doing Sankirtan, maybe in a dilapidated street, nobody is around, then it may be a different. I mean, then also auspiciousness is created: the vegetation, the rats, the snakes, but we won't be able to realize it much, So that's the point. So auspiciousness, is it not? Krishna consciousness creates auspiciousness. So we see Sankirtan will create auspiciousness. Therefore, actually, so that's why you see the point is that it becomes. So we see we as sadhakas actually, we should. It is best to orient our lives in such a way that we are people oriented. We interact with people, and whenever we interact with people, we share Krishna Katha. So whatever we are doing, it is good to dovetail it towards people interaction. And then people interaction, we just share Krishna Katha. It is going to create auspiciousness. We don't have to worry actually. It is people's lives are very much passed up and empty and dark with no positive spark. Their lives are empty and dark, no positive spark. So it is the Krishna consciousness which will create its mark. Like that. So that's the nature of bhakti. Yes, question. Okay, so question is people do different tithis, muhuratas to start something. How is that auspiciousness different from this auspiciousness? Yes. So, Jai Shri Sai Chand Gochan Bhagwan Ki, Jai Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra. So basically, the auspiciousness of tithis is basically calculating the influence of the various demigods. Not all demigods have positive influence on us. And at different times, different periods, different demigods are dominating and their influence is dominating. So So the demigods who are creating a negative influence, because negativity, positivity are both sides of the Lord, so both have to be managed as departments. So the demigods exerting a negative influence, the times at which they are dominant, at those times, if we start some activities, those activities get tainted with that dominating influence. And therefore, it will be a little more difficult to drive that activity forward than at another time where there is an influence of a positive demigod. It is just like saying that, okay, the same subject is being taught by a very lenient professor and a very khadoos professor. I mean, we know what's going to happen if you choose this or that. So the same thing, uh, the same thing. So even among the demigods, they have their natures and they have their particular kind of influence and their own marking criteria. They're like professors, is it not? So now, and the different sets of demigods are exhibiting different sets of qualities. So something which is not congenial for us, if we take that as a starting point, then that influence will remain, and we may have to exert a little more pressure. So now this is what it is. This is what is karmakanda, auspiciousness, barometer and check. Now what is this Sankirtan creating auspiciousness? And so the Sankirtan creates auspiciousness in any setting. It's auspiciousness being created from within, from here. You know, we are not tapping on what is an auspicious time in auspicious time, like that. So it is auspiciousness being generated from here. So even if the Sankirtan is being taken and the dominance of the time, suppose is say it's night time out of ignorance is the dominating time, but the Sankirtan is being done actually, it will create auspiciousness. That bad influence will be countered, is it not? The Sankirtan is very powerful also, like that. So this is the first difference. The second difference is in terms of the power of Sankirtan. What is that? The auspiciousness which we are tapping, the Daiva auspiciousness and auspiciousness which we are tapping according to the calculations of Astro, that has an effect up to a limit. So somebody says, okay, his grahas are a little bit problematic, this, that means times will be a bit tough for him. Not that times will be completely blocked for him. Karma Kanda will completely never block us. Because complete blockage means we don't have any free will, we don't have any, complete blockage means it is an animal body. Is it not? That's what it means, is it not? So one will not have complete blockage. Like that. It's just going to be tough. Like that. So it has a limit. That impact has a limit. Whereas the Sankirtan has no limits. Therefore it is best to rely on Sankirtan. Like that. It's best to rely on Sankirtan. So it's best to rely on Sankirtan. So that's why so okay, when we are starting some activity like sedity installation and all, we also check Muhurata. The Muhurata is so that's just that, okay, it's a very wonderful and auspicious creating activity. Let there be no disturbance in that activity. Okay, even if there is disturbance, devotees may tolerate that. But if there is no disturbance, the positive spiritual impact of it would be more. That's why devotees also calculates for activities. That's the point, is it not? So, and secondly, it's like at different times because different modes and different demigods are prominent. So at a certain timing, doing even a spiritual activity may be a bit more tough than other timings. That means timings which are favorable will be able to do the best service, is it not? That's why we have to calculate also muhurtas for big things, not small things. Okay, when should I go and take bath? Don't create calculate timing for that. Like that. When should I take prasad? Don't create auspiciousness and auspiciousness. That is a small thing. Big things actually. big things. So that's the point. Because a devotee also wants he can do the best service. So that's why when do we give time to Krishna? The most auspicious time, Brahma Muhurta. Is it not? So instead of morning program, we can have night program also. If we have night program, many more students can join in, is it not? 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, we end with dinner. After that, devotees can study or sleep or whatever they want to do. I mean, can have a night program. Yeah, it starts at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, punctual. Start with Mangalarti, Shayanarti, whatever. So, Shayan Mangala, like that. Something like that we can do. But more people can join in. We'll see, although initially it may be more people can join in, but they won't be able to catch the substantiality of Krishna consciousness. They won't be able to go for long. Interesting, no? So that auspiciousness is that has a limit. Krishna consciousness, Sankirtan has no limits. That's why the Sankirtan is being highlighted by Srila Prabhupada here. Auspiciousness. Now the third quality is happiness in Krishna consciousness. Srila Rupa Goswami has analyzed the different sources of happiness. He has divided happiness into three categories, which are happiness derived from material enjoyment, happiness derived by identifying oneself with the Supreme Brahman, and happiness derived from Krishna consciousness. So in the Tantra Shastra, Lord Shiva speaks to his wife Sati in this way: my dear wife, a person who has surrendered himself at the lotus feet of Govinda and who has thus developed pure Krishna consciousness can be easily awarded all the perfections desired by the impersonalists. But beyond this, he can enjoy the happiness achieved by the pure devotees. Happiness derived from pure devotional service is the highest because it is eternal. The happiness derived from material perfection or understanding oneself to be Brahman is inferior because it is temporary. There is no preventing one's falling down from material happiness. And there is even every chance of falling down from the spiritual happiness derived out of identifying oneself with the impersonal Brahman. It has been said that great Mayavadi impersonalist sannyasis, very highly educated and almost realized souls, may sometimes take to political activities or to social welfare activities. The reason is that they actually do not derive any ultimate transcendental happiness in the impersonal understanding, and therefore one must come down to the material platform and take to such mundane affairs. There are many instances, especially in India, where these Mayavadi sannyasis descend to the material platform again. But a person who is fully in Krishna consciousness will never return to any sort of material platform. However alluring and attractive they may be, he always knows that no material welfare activities can compare to the spiritual activity of Krishna consciousness. The mystic perfections achieved by actually successful yogis are 8 in number. Anima Siddhi refers to the power by which one can become so small that he can enter into a stone. So now modern scientific improvements also enable us to enter into stone, but they provide for evacuating so many subways, penetrating the hills, etc. So Anima Siddhi, mystic perfection of trying to enter into the stone, has also been achieved by material science. Similarly, all of the Yoga Siddhis, now perfections, are material arts. For example, in one Yoga Siddhi, there is development of power to become so light that one can float in the air or water. That is being performed by the modern scientists. They are flying in the air, they are floating on the surface of water, and they are traveling under the water also. After comparing all these mystic yoga siddhis to materialistic perfections, we find that the materialistic scientists strive for the same perfections. So actually there is no difference between materialistic perfection and mystic perfection. A German scholar once said that the so-called yoga perfections had already been achieved by the modern scientists, and so he was not concerned with them. He immediately went to India to learn how to understand his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord by means of Bhakti Yoga devotional service. Of course, in the categories of mystic perfection, there are certain processes which the material scientists have not yet been able to develop. For example, a mystic yogi can enter into the sun planet simply by using the rays of the sunshine. This perfection is called a lagima. Similarly, a yogi can touch the moon with his finger. Though the modern astronauts go to the moon with the help of spaceships, they undergo many difficulties, whereas a person with mystic perfection can extend his hand and touch the moon with his finger. This siddhi is called as prapti or acquisition. With this prapti siddhi, not only can the mystic yogi touch the moon planet, but he can extend his hand anywhere and take whatever he likes. He may be sitting thousands of miles away from a certain place, and if he likes, he can take the fruit from the garden there. This is called as prapti siddhi. The modern scientists manufacture nuclear weapons with which they can destroy an insignificant part of this planet. But by the yoga siddhi known as Ishita, one can create and destroy an entire planet simply at will. Another perfection, Vasita, by which perfection one can actually bring anyone under control. This is a kind of hypnotism which is almost irresistible. Sometimes it is found that a yogi who may have attained a little perfection in the Vasita mystic power comes out among the people and spreads all sorts of nonsense, controls their minds, exploits them, takes their money, and then goes away. There is another mystic perfection called as Prakamya magic. By this Prakamya power, one can achieve anything he likes. For example, one can make water enter into his eye and then again come out from within his eye. Simply by his will, he can perform such wonderful activities. The highest mystic perfection is Kama Vashaita. This is also magic, whereas the Prakamya power acts to create wonderful effects within the scope of nature, Kama Vashaita permits one to contradict nature in other ways, in other words, do the impossible. Of course, one can derive great amounts of temporary happiness by achieving such materialistic perfections. So foolishly, people who are enamored by the glimmer of modern materialistic advancement are thinking that the Krishna consciousness movement is for the less intelligent. I am better off, busy with my material comforts, maintaining a nice apartment, family, and sex life. These people do not know that any moment they can be kicked out of their material situation. Due to ignorance, they do not know that real life is eternal. The temporary comforts of the body are not the goal of life, and it is due only to the darkest ignorance that people are enamored by the glimmering advancement of material comforts. So, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur has said that the advancement of material knowledge renders a person more foolish because it causes one to forget his real identity by its glimmer. So this is doom for him because this human form of life is meant for getting out of material contamination. By the advancement of material knowledge, people are becoming more and more entangled in material existence. They have no hope of being liberated from this catastrophe. So Srila Prabhupada explains about these levels of happiness, where the happiness of sense gratification is very transient. Even the happiness of identifying with Brahman does not last for long, and therefore the best quality of happiness is Krishna consciousness. Happiness derived from Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada is giving an example of mystic perfections. So even something so cherished or so looking fantastical as mystic perfections, Prabhupada is saying they are simply temporary benefits. And they are not unheard of and undone. Even modern day science has done it. We can fly in the air. We can have ships and submarines. We can also have Prapti Siddhi. What is Prapti Siddhi? So Prapti Siddhi means taking a hand anywhere and getting anything from anywhere. So Amazon is giving us Prapti Siddhi. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Is it not? One may say, no, you have to pay money, to Amazon for that. Yeah, but to maintain the Prapti Siddhi, also you have to pay money. You have to do so many meditation, chant the mantras, and give your time and energy. Is it not? Ultimately, money comes from giving time and energy. So even for Prapti, you have to do that. So it's one and the same thing. What is the difference? What is the difference? A yogi can just take his hand and get anything from anywhere. We can also get anything from anywhere, actually. We can just ask devotees to purchase it and ship it to us. Finish. Or we can book it from Amazon or any such e-commerce portal. Is it not? So the point and the effect is the same. And one has to put the same amount of efforts. Is it not? To earn money is as good as a tapasya, as what a yogi is doing. Is it not? So therefore one should not get enticed by all these temporary effects. That's what Srila Prabhupada is highlighting. Huh? This one? This is before that. What's that? Deride? Oh, Krishna consciousness is the highest quality of happiness. Even liberation cannot give that much happiness. That's the point. So, yeah, even liberation cannot give us the highest quality of happiness. Liberation is good for a relief. Liberation is going to a beach. But suppose we go to a beach and we are said, okay, you'll be here only, no coming back, I mean, it'll be exciting, okay, the waves, ocean waves, the whales, the sharks, the haribol, but suppose we have to stay there only. It's not very exciting, is it not? So that's moksha, that's laguta krit. So moksha is that's what moksha. Laguta means small. So the happiness derived from moksha is also relief. People look for moksha. Why moksha is very famous and trending in this material world? Because people are very frustrated in their lives. So they want a puff of fresh air at least, is it not? And that's why people are looking for moksha. But moksha is nothing great in moksha. Is it? That's just a puff of fresh air. A puff is okay. People don't want to just remain in that place, is it not? Can we? Can we? People go to Puri for 1 day, 2 day, Diga 1 day, 2 day. Would they like to stay there only on the beach, sleep there only, bathe there only? I don't think so. It's going to be such a miserable experience, is it not? That's why Brahman is such a miserable experience, and Brahma Jyoti. And floating in Brahma Jyoti is a very miserable experience. One just cannot remain being there. That's the point. Yes. Yes, temporary. It is the boundaries of the material world. They again have to come back because they are not developed